Bye. gets the charm as well. There's the first blood coming in for CosQ, and Robin is now underneath this turret. Hybrid takes another tap shot. They're very low. This is dangerous. Everyone else has abandoned him. He's sticking down from the Yak. He heals himself somehow, and Morsu is now trading off against Kubon, and also Morgana hitting away at this inhibitor. Now moving in, the minion line has also come in to help him. This is 3 versus 2, and it's nothing they can do. Low Land Lions, with the constant swings in this game, somehow managed to pick up the win against Reason Gaming. That completely separates between the rock and a hard place, and now Kubon comes to engage onto Iker. Jeebus over the wall as well. He's right in the thick of the fight, and no one can focus him down. Zayu now comes in, gets the land shot, jump onto Jeebus, but everyone's there to defend him. Kubon should be falling here. Everyone's so low. This could even be a 5-4-0 here. There's the Foss bomb. He started the teleport. Great Tibbets comes down onto 3 members. Smitty comes into the fight. Only lands the ultimate onto Wonderwear, though. Maybe not the ideal target, but Senkox takes a step too far forward, and Iker will lock him down. Game is 2 in a 50-minute slugfest in a composition that should be coming away with the win at this point in the game. Get beaten by a Teemo. History in the making, ladies and gentlemen. History in the making indeed. Hello and welcome to the European Challengers Series Spring Split, and we're back with our first day of the playoffs. I'm Richard Polscam, and I am, of course, joined by the one, the only, is James Stresso-Leary. Who
is hoping not to have a Teemo today, but yeah. On the serious side, we're out of the round robin. The round robin is done. 10 games for each team are in the books, and that means we are in the playoff bracket to determine the 3 teams which are going to get their spot potentially at getting into the LCS.
Yeah, so let's take a look at the teams that made it through and who's facing who. Today, Lowland Lions White will be facing Gamers 2 in a best of 3. Tomorrow, Origin go against Reason Gaming in another best of 3. And then the losers from those games go to a 3rd place game next Tuesday, while the winners go to the live grand final next Wednesday, where the victors will be automatically promoted to the LCS.
Sounds a lot more complicated than it is, but there it is in front of you. Now, one thing you may notice that's a little bit different is this week Reason Gaming have joined the playoff lineup, and that is because there was a competitive ruling earlier this week against Team Dignitas EU. Team Dignitas EU decided not to participate in the playoffs, and as such, they relinquished their playoff spot and forfeit all playoff prize money.
So if you want to get full context on the decision, you can do so. Head over to LLL to read the full competitive ruling on Team Dignitas EU during one of our breaks.
And while you're there, you can also book your tickets to the European Challenger Series Finals. They're going to be broadcast from our studios here in Berlin. All you need to do, click the tickets tab and follow the links to secure your ticket.
Now on to today's match between Lowland Lions White and Gamers 2. With everyone saying how Gamers 2 would be 2nd place out of the round robin, who would have guessed that the team to take it from them would be Lowland Lions? But that's exactly what happened. Now the winner of this best of 3 will progress to the live grand finals next week.
Indeed, and you know that whoever is reaching that grand finals is still up in the air, but one thing that certainly isn't to be questioned is that Lowland Lions are looking a lot sharper now, especially with that win versus Origin, the only team to take a game from Origin at all. Over on the other side, their opponents Gamers 2 struggled a little bit last week. They played Mouse, who going into the week didn't even have a win, but Mouse played some unorthodox compositions, had a little bit of good fortune go in their favor, and Gamers 2 struggled their way to an 0-2. And Gamers 2, it was half Mouse, half Gamers 2's late game decision making. Hopefully they'll be a lot more comfortable coming into this week, because this should be Gamers 2 at full strength.
Hopefully. I mean, I spoke to them and they were like, yeah, we just didn't like the way we played it. So hopefully as they come back into this week, they'll just be much better and back on form. So before we get into the game, let's hit up the lineups. In the blue hand side, it is Lowland Lions White with Morsu, Kyrie, CosQ, Visility, and Hybrid as the support.
And over on the red side, it is the Gamers 2 lineup, starting with Smitty J in the top lane, Gilius in the jungle, Iker in the mid lane, with Jeebus and Heaver in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and I really want to talk top laners here, because in this matchup, I feel they are critical to each team's success. Both Smitty, J, and Morsu have huge impacts on their teams, but go about it in very different ways. On one side, Smitty has a wide meta champion pool with 7 unique picks in the 10 games that they played during the round robin. However, on Morsu's side, he'll do that split push, and he'll get ahead in lane, but only if it's on his terms, with only 4 meta picks, and the other 2 being Fiora and Wukong.
Morsu has an interesting and different play style when you look at it, especially compared to Smitty J. And Morsu as a player has both the positives and the negatives. The positives is you kind of have to ban him a lot, or at least positives for Morsu. That's a negative for Lowland Lions, for Gamers 2 here.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
You know, last time Gamers 2 and Lowland Lions met each other, 6 bans from Gamers 2 were aimed right at Morsu in that top lane. It's not the same problem for Smitty J. He's got a lot more that he can choose from. Morsu on the other side, his personal positives and for the team is that he can actually keep Lowland Lions in games a lot better than a lot of other top laners can. He's always split pushing in. Think back to last week's game versus Origin game 2 that we broadcast on Wednesday. Morsu very nearly potentially took the game away from Origin. He took 2 inhibs, exposed a third, and the split push is very difficult to deal with.
Yeah, so the bottom line is that Smitty J is a more consistent top laner, while Morsu is kind of more of a loose cannon, but can definitely upset him and still land up on top. And Morsu himself was very vocal about how the champion select will maybe be going. He said, you either pick Malphite or you triple ban me, otherwise you'll have a bad time.
Yeah, triple ban or enjoy.
Yeah,
at this point. But,
which they did last week or last time they played them, because they put them on champions that they won against. So we'll see if that's the case as we get into this champion select. But yeah, very, very interested to see how this one goes, because as you mentioned, it was 6 bans aimed towards him, kind of 5.5 because the last one was Lysandra, so kind of that flex pick, but still 5.5 is a lot of bans, and
it is.
We'll see if that's the case, as Lowland Lions have the first ban.
So just to bring everybody up to speed, we're on 5.6, so we're on the patch that is currently on the live client as well, so a lot of changes that we'll get into as we go through the day.
Yeah, 5.6, but Bard is disabled,
yes.
So that's a key thing to keep track of. Rumble will be banned up against Smitty J. He played that multiple times, 3 times I think during split, and what he played against them last time. LeBlanc comes out, and then Malphite.
The Malphite ban, though, you just said that Morsu's own words were triple ban me or play Malphite, and now you can't even play Malphite, and it's not going to be a triple ban. So Morsu is going to get something here that he wants, and there's a lot of fast bans.
Okay, so it's not a triple ban, but it's still his Aurelia, it's still his Jax, and they haven't banned away his Fizz, which is what they did last time. It's going to be a fast first pick of Nidalee for the first pick of Lowland Lions.
Yeah, Nidalee's still one of the queens of the jungle, still very high priority. Actually saw it less so much in the EULCS than we have in Challenger. Challenger still very much so playing the Nidalee. Maybe we'll see it creep back in this week's EULCS as well once we get on to 5.6. Of course, there were nerfs to Sejuani and a couple of other little tweaks around the jungle as well. But with that Nidalee locked in, Lowland Lions, this was the champion that helped them beat Origin last week on Kyrie.
It is, and Gamers 2 respond very quickly with their Corki coming out for the AD carry, so still keeping their top lanes to the chest right now, but they also pick up the Ahri for the mid lane. Full Ica coming in here, so they don't give too much away at this point in time.
Especially with LeBlanc banned away, it's another strong mid lane champion, and mid lane had a lot of changes as well here in 5.6. There were the changes to Athene's. Question possibly of is Ziggs coming back. I'm still hesitant to say yes to that because I haven't really seen too much since the changes, but lots happened to the mid lane. Corki's still as prevalent as ever down in that bottom lane, and there's still a lot open here for the top lane, as you said. I mean, you said the Fizz is open. We've still got the possibility of a Hecarim, which we saw out of Fnatic and Huni in Europe, and pretty much every team as well. There's so much still there.
Yeah, there's a lot to pick from in the top lane. The question is, what do these top laners play? Because we know Aurelia Jax is, of course, in Morsu's champion pool, but we'll see what he brings to the table. Probably going to wait for Gamers to make their first move, but Lowland Lions do lock in their AD carry as well, along with the Fresh, so they have their bot lane secured, plus potentially their jungle in Nidalee.
Yeah, and speaking of jungle,
Sejuani
Sejuani has been locked in. So Sejuani had the slow reduction on her ultimate for if you whiff the ult, and I believe it was a little bit of damage taken off her W from the flail. So we'll have to see exactly how much that has affected Sejuani. Some junglers have been very vocal that it's been a heavy hit to Sejuani's early clear. So we have to see. Gilius, is he going to be still as confident on Sejuani? You have to feel like that because it was picked. Rek'Sai was available at the same time.
Yeah, so we do have the flex of Morgana coming in here. Could be top, could be support, depending on where Gamers 2 put it. This would be interesting if he locks it in. But yes, they're also hovering over the Cassiopeia. CosQ, well, we know he plays it. This could be something that goes into the mid lane. There's still plenty of things for him to play. There's like Syndra, even if he wants to go down that route, even the Xerath, and maybe the Ziggs with now the Ludens coming in with the buff to the Athenes. Not too sure, but now with the hover over Fizz, it's going to be Fizz. We said they didn't ban it out, and that's the only one that he's not going to have that taken away from.
And this is a super high damage composition when you look at things. Cassiopeia, Fizz are both going to become monsters in this game if you don't shut them down. The same with Graves, he's got a lot of burst damage. Nidalee's going to have that little bit of a dip, but we saw that Kyrie was not affected by the dip by getting 7 kills by about the 10-minute mark against Origin. So still, Lowland Lions are going to have so much damage.
Yeah, I would like to remind you that this is the composition, as you mentioned. Nidalee came out. Now they also have the Fresh for Hybrid. This is the composition they ran against Origin, where they just got snowballing. It's 5 kills plus the million kills on Kyrie. And if they can replicate that against Gamers 2, this is a great start to this best of 3 if they can pull it off. But Gamers 2 themselves, what are they looking towards?
Likely top lane here, unless they're going to flex Morgana up
Okay,
there. But
Hecarim.
Okay, Hecarim's gone all the way through the draft. We've seen him higher priority by certain teams, but Smitty J, this is, I believe, I'm trying to remember if we've seen him actually play Hecarim before. I will have to go back and check through that. But at this point, this could be another unique pick here out of Smitty J, and certainly a meta pick as well. We've seen a lot of Hecarim coming through the meta. Can be fairly good against, or is fairly good against melee matchups. So we'll have to see exactly how Morsu can fare in the Fizz Hecarim matchup.
Yeah, Hecarim to me just is like a Smitty J champion all over, right? Like he likes to go for the split pushes. The only thing I'm a little concerned about is how he deals with the teleports. And that's basically it, because we saw Zazas play him twice last week, or the week before last week rather, and it just failed every single time. He was actually playing into a Fresh like he is now, and he just got flayed away every single time he teleported in. But as the teams load onto the Rift, get your votes in for who you think will take the win by logging onto Twitter and using the hashtags LLLwin and G2win. And we'll be checking in with your opinion later in the match.
We will, and this is the first time we've seen Smitty J on Hecarim here in the European Challenger Series as well. On the other side of the map, this is actually going to be the 3rd time for Fizz for Morsu. So we'll see how it goes.
We will indeed, as we get into game and onto the Rift. Lowland Lions versus Gamers 2. This is the first game in our best of 3 here, ladies and gentlemen, our very first semi-finals in the playoffs. And the winner of this will go to the live grand finals next week, which will be hijacking the LCS studio. And the teams will be there live. So very interested to see who comes out on top here, Stress.
We're taking it. It's ours. I scouted it out last week.
Oh, yeah?
I got all the security, found the
Nice.
weaknesses. We're taking it over. Just don't tell them, okay? Nobody tell them we're coming.
Well, hopefully they have the Metal Gear guards where we can just sneak past and it's just like, oh, they're streaming from our studio. Let's see what Gamers 2 are doing in the top side of the map, though. They're all congregated around there. Will they just set up this depth push facility? Oh, he catches them, but he gets catched himself. That's not a word, but he is going to go back to his turret. He does get tagged by the binding, but the rest of the team may be heading into the jungle now. Of course, they know that they've been spotted, and Lowland Lions have responded by going into the opposing jungle themselves, but they're 4v5 if they head into a confrontation.
That could have gone a lot worse for Visility there. That really could have been a big play to begin. Now, Visility, yes, they've seen that go down, so Visility is... should know that's happening, and the rest of Lowland Lions are around the back now. Gamers 2 are a little bit boxed in, but there's no way Visility can actually get to the rest of his team without crossing the ward line here for Lowland Lions. And Gamers 2 are going to back away. They've both got deep vision into each other's jungle. However, there isn't actually vision to spot the lane swap as such from Lowland Lions, and that may become problematic depending on exactly where G2 show themselves. Yeah, so Jeebus and Hiva have gone back to base and they will be heading into the bottom lane here, so they should get the dual lanes coming out. They did see Visility actually pass through that base gate ward, so they know he's heading into the bot side of the map. And now they definitely know he's here, and he's actually setting up the lane just in case it's the 2v1. So the problem about this, yes, he's going to set up the lane, but as it's, actually hybrid, scrap the bottom lane because Ica, this is a very different type. There's the auto, CosQ follows up with some damage. There's the ignite as well from hybrid, so he burns out in the mid lane just to send Ica packing, and he will have to go back to base. He doesn't even bother spending the biscuits
and yeah, he's going to be out of commission for a couple seconds.
But now that that Hybrid has realized that it's actually a 1 versus 2 right now in the bottom lane, Visility hasn't been able to push up and get any real farm done here. He's only on the 1 CS to 4. Now they're back to the 2v2. Should be okay, but that was a little touch and go there for Hybrid. Rome thinking it would have been a 1v1 in that bottom lane.
Yeah, it's only put Visility a couple CS behind, but it's not going to feel the long-term impact.
And we have to now wonder what the impact of this top lane is going to be now with SmittyJ and Morsu going head-to-head. We didn't see SmittyJ start with that Flask on its own and then do a camp and teleport back. So this will be a straight-up matchup here in the top lane. And SmittyJ actually just took a turret shot. That is probably something he's going to not want to do for the rest of this laning phase if he wants to go up against Morsu. Because if there is one thing that Morsu can do very well, it is these 1v1 situations in the top lane.
Yeah, he's going to have to get itemized first, but yeah, once he gets there, he's very difficult to deal with because there's almost no real way of dealing with him because he'll just keep jumping around with his E, and he won't be building Zhonya's. He'll be going for the AD Fizz build, most likely, with the Triforce and the Blade of the Ruin King, which is what we've been seeing Fizz do as of late. We'll see if he'll be doing that. But SmittyJ should be able to play around this. He's played it himself. Hybrid comes out with the Flay in the bot lane. There's the auto. There's the follow-up from Visility. That's all they want for now. Hybrid is still spotted out by that ward, and Kyrie looking maybe to go from the backside and see if he can close in with his pincer movement.
I've seen this kind of setup before, and this was pretty much what happened against Origin at about this time into the game. Kyrie, one spear. Ooh, it landed. No follow-up from the hook from Hybrid, though.
Literally inches away from Heaver. Even so, not quite the target they were looking for, as Jeebus was there, one under their crosshairs.
But at this point, Kyrie's put enough pressure on this bottom side of the map. You can see the pressure on the middle lane as well that Kyrie's having. Just throws a spear in, but it's all from that roam from Hybrid, putting CosQ ahead early on. Just because they didn't really get anything from Ica, it did pass over the lane presence to this Cassiopeia, though. They chunked Ari so hard, but bottom lane, they're chunking Heaver.
Yeah, Hybrid just never fails to land hooks. You saw it against Miffy as well. He just could not escape them. Hybrid is continuing to put down the pressure, and it means they are slightly ahead in this lane, but nothing to write home about just yet. And Gilius, just out of range, I think, of that ward to see that they were there. And Gilius will be heading through the rest of his jungle. As you mentioned, his early clear maybe not as good as it was, but he has gone for the Trailblazer, so he should be able to get through his jungle just fine now.
Yeah, that'll help him out. Just keep clearing through. On the other hand, Kyrie hasn't yet opted for anything. If you think back, Kyrie has been one of the players that has opted for, I believe it's the tier build on Nidalee. We saw him rush that very, very early on. Oh, another hook lands in that bottom lane, and yes, they can't follow up, but every single time, G2 are getting pressured out. And this was the bottom lane that Visility was on his own in as they began this game, so they really didn't pressure out Graves at all in the early game. Yeah,
this is also the Heaver who is continuing to not quite land his Black Shields. I don't think I've seen a single Black Shield that's gone in before the hook, and every single time Jeebus has been dragged in regardless, so needs to be a little sharper on those as the hooks keep landing. Mid lane, as you mentioned, significant advantage now to CosQ, 45 CS to 24 from CosQ in here. Neither have gone back just yet. Neither have really spent any of their potions either, so they're just mostly farming it out, and CosQ's getting the better of Ica.
Ica was quite vocal yesterday on Twitter. There was a series of interactions between some of the players and also with regards to the Challenger chat show that was posted yesterday as well. Ica taking a little bit to heart some of the people's comments about Gamers2 and his strength on the team. So he's really been looking to kind of raise his status within the team, but he's not quite getting there with the CS difference quite yet. Kyrie actually just walks straight into the lane. SmittyJ, a little bit trapped here, no flash.
Yeah, nice juke from Morsu though. There's to chum the waters. Kyrie's taking a bunch of damage. There's the first blood in the 1v2. It won't be the second kill for Smitty as Morsu does wipe him up, but still, they do get that one kill and the assist, so slight advantage to low land Lions, even though that was not quite how they wanted it to turn out.
Man, you can't underestimate the damage that's going to come from this Hecarim, though. You can see he basically just turns what should have been fairly easy 2v1 into a 1-for-1 trade overall. We'll see what he opts for now, as he does have a little bit of gold. Yes, has opted for those Home Guard level 3 boots here. Will he use his teleport is the question, because he may very well require that. Now that he's got Home Guard, can just run out.
And he's almost back in lane, literally just a couple seconds ago. Home Guard so good on Hecarim, allows him to go for those ganks and return to lane very quickly, so doesn't even have to expend that vital summoner or teleport.
It also gives him quite a big burst of damage on that initial hit as well.
It does. Comes in with the Sonic Boom, just with the E, so much damage as that translates with his passive.
Something as well, Smitty J is not a fan of Robot Unicorn attack.
He's not, no.
He's opted, however, for the Headless Horseman instead.
It's a solid play. Let's see if it pans out. Morsu is continuing with his CS, and he's pretty much equal with Hecarim. So the Hecarim pick against those melee top laners has not quite put down the pressure that he may have wanted. We just have a large minion wave heading towards him. Gilius is going to be utilizing that minion wave to see if he can get in for a gank here. Morsu is very slippery with his E and his flash. See if he can get the kill off, as Smitty does not have his ult, but Gilius does, and his flash as well. Morsu is now feeling the attack. Gilius, well, he uses ultimate. There's the Arctic Assault. He burns the flash. Good gank.
Gets the flash, yeah, didn't even have to use his ultimate there, and we talked a little bit in Champion Select about the Sejuani changes. If you don't hit it, it's from a 90% slow down to about a 30% slow, and that is a massive difference if you don't hit that ult. But the Lantern in the bottom lane, and a long trip, but Kyrie's
there's
in
the
trouble.
flash on the Arctic Assault. Ica from the mid lane as well with the Foxfires takes down Kyrie as he's trying to prowl through the jungle. Smitty J in the top lane receives the Chum the Waters. There's a damage amp from Morsu as well. The auto attacks, having to use Smitty J's ultimate to get away from that. So Morsu takes control of the lane, but he's very low.
He is very low, but you can see just how much damage Morsu can do in these situations. As we said, 1 versus 1. Smitty J a little bit feeling the pressure in the trades, but still ahead in CS. Keep in mind, until Morsu really gets his flash up, though, he can't really risk going aggressive on Smitty when his ult is up. But now that Smitty's ult is down, Morsu may be able to just burst him.
Gilius is here 1v1. Can he do the damage in time? Yes, he can. Urchin strike with a Seastone Trident. Gilius gets a little bit juked there by Morsu. There's the Arctic Assault. Needs to get in range for the Frost passive and get the Permafrost down, but he can't quite connect the auto attack. Morsu is going to be juking with the Urchin strike. He has E in 4 seconds. He just needs to buy time. He's got the ward coming down, but Ica's come in from the mid lane. Cosq in hot pursuit, though. Morsu's got the minion down, but he has the passive to try and reduce some of that. He's got the Urchin strike down. Cosq was on the hunt, but he was not in range to get taken out by Ica, and that's Lowland Lines taking the dragon as well.
Great individual play out of Morsu. Knew exactly the pathing he had to take to kind of juke Gilius out there, and if nothing else, wasted the time from the rest of gamers too, so they can take a dragon. Lowland Lions now ahead, both in gold and in the dragons. That was a really good play.
Yeah, you can just see that Ica all the way through. That was like, I wish I had bought boots, because that would have been enough to catch up. He, in fact, opted towards the Ruby Crystal instead for the extra tanky stats. Either way, that is Morsu getting away scot-free. He is still heading towards his Trinity Force. He's now picked up the Phage on top of his Sheen. And now Kyrie, with a nice rotation to the bot lane, will be able to secure the first tower of the game for Lowland Lions.
And Lowland Lions, one of the things that they actually do really well is their coordination between their players. When it comes to playing a split push game, when it comes to playing an objective game, they're actually one of the best teams that we have here in European Challenger, and that really just shows in its stats. They have the most dragons and barons out of all teams in the European Challenger Series. So that's the first objective like that in the books with the dragon and the tower. Very
impressive stat there, but Morsu, that's not your lane. He's now in mid lane, and they've performed the swap up. Cosq now in the top lane, but he'll be heading into the river maybe for the crab, it looks like. Ica is still following through with the damage, but he's still behind his mid laner. Eva takes a javelin to the face. Morsu does not choose to follow up, as Ica is also there. Second spear almost landing. And Gilius is also around that area, maybe looking to set up for a potential something. There's no dragon there,
well,
so.
This is an interesting little swap here from Cosq and Morsu. When you look at it, Morsu was actually doing well in the trades, but was losing out in CS in the middle lane, whereas it's the opposite for the middle lane, where Cosq is way ahead in CS, but there's a lot of people in mid lane, so Cosq just kind of wants to farm his way up, get his tier stacked, get later into the game to get the damage, but it's kind of just releasing a fair amount of the pressure here that is on Ica, and I wonder whether that could potentially come back to be a little bit of a misplay out of Lowland Lions. They need to maybe force things in this top lane fairly soon, but it's bottom lane. Binding has landed 4 gamers too. That's going to spell the end of any kind of engages here from Lowland Lions.
So it's past 10 minutes now, but it's still worth mentioning that Lowland Lions are always behind in their CS, or on average they are behind in CS at 10 minutes, whereas gamers 2 are always ahead. That is not the case this game, as CosQ is ahead in his mid lane.
Ult's available.
Smitty J in top
Oh,
lane.
nice juke over the back of the Snake, but he's still chasing him down, maybe for the kill. Onslaught of Shadows, he'll flash away, he'll burn the Summoner. Kyrie comes out with a takedown pounce and gets the kill. That was a little too close for comfort, as CosQ has to burn both of his Summoners.
Yeah, CosQ really shouldn't have even had to use either of his Summoners in that kind of situation, so little bit of a misplay by CosQ, but Smitty J keeping themselves in it. However, it's bottom lane. Gilius is just going to show himself straight away. Ultimate is available. Minion wave pushing in.
Nice ult, lands right onto Facility.
Oh, the Lantern with the flash as well. There comes the fillet just in case he followed up. Hybrid, what a play.
Great Lantern out there, and Gilius used his ult early on that engage. Hook has landed onto Gilius. There's no real follow-up damage, but this is just to stop them from putting any damage down onto this turret, but a new wave will refresh the minions, and this turret doesn't look like it's going to be sticking around for too much longer.
Yeah, as the binding doesn't land onto Facility, trying to clear out these minions. They have indeed done so, pretty much wasted a lot of Gilius' time down there. Very nicely played by the bot lane duo of Lowland Lions. Let's take a look at some of the items though. 13 minutes into this game, Morsu has completed his Triforce as his first item. And on the opposing side, Smitty J also apparently looking towards his Triforce with the Phage and the Amp Tome towards the Sheen. Has of course gotten those home guards as we mentioned earlier. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, CosQ, you can see him taking blue buff, but he's got the Archangel staff, so he's gone for the tier and actually didn't go tier into Ludens, he just went straight for the Archangels.
Yes, he has gone straight for that Archangels. He needs to ramp it up as fast as he can. He's only at about 300 stacks so far, which, you know, with that Archangels complete, it's going to stack faster, so it should be just about on time, but it's the massive CS difference that CosQ is really concerned about right now, and he is way ahead of Ica from that middle lane. He's prevented Ica from really roaming at all, and every time that Ica has tried, it's been CosQ there behind him. However, why roam when you might be able to catch somebody coming straight past your lane?
He whiffs the binds as he's walking in a straight line, but it doesn't seem to matter because Ica still follows up with his full combo. Will burn the Ignite as well. That should have been a little smoother from Ica there, but they burn both of the... in fact, they burn 2 Summoners in the form of Flash and then the Ignite from Ica.
And both teams maybe looking a little bit unsettled to begin this one. A couple of plays that really should be a lot cleaner are very messy right now, with bindings missing. You know, the top lane ult as well. So it is first game of a best-of-3 series. We'll see if any of the teams really start to find their groove a little bit better. But now 2 pushing in this middle lane. Hybrid is there, and he's got Facility as well. So it's going to be able to clear the wave out as well. Gilius shows himself. Hooks on the minion.
Yeah, it would have been onto Gilius had that minion just happened not to be there. Morsu and Kyrie in the top lane, still pushing away, so they get their second turret and defend the middle turret as well. So Lowland Lions really commanding on the objective game so far. Jeebus should be able to get the first tower of the game for gamers 2 in the bot lane. There we go. But when you're a team and you start making mistakes against Lowland Lions, they will capitalize. We've seen that multiple times where people make one small mistake and Lowland Lions, they always capitalize on it.
And this is a split push game as well. Kyrie's getting forced back, but Morsu's free to just sit under this turret for a little bit longer. Smitty
that's
J.
a big crit as well. There comes the E, flattens him down. Goodbye, Hecarim.
Gilius now comes into the top lane. He's 1 on 2. There's the ultimate onto Kyrie, and Morsu just kind of leaves him out to dry.
He's getting the
as
turret.
Kyrie tries to get away here. Morsu just finishes off the turret. He'll easily take that kill for a turret any day of the week. And Lowland Lions continue to pull ahead.
Really well balanced there by Lowland Lions. They knew that they had the damage to kill Smitty J, and knew that Gilius had to pick one target. They get a turret from it. This split push game is really difficult to deal with, how coordinated the Lowland Lions are, and Morsu is already pretty huge. 3-0-0 in this game so far.
Well, we were definitely interested in how the top laners would interact because they are the focal points of the teams. But so far, it seems like Morsu is pulling ahead 1-4 on Smitty J, and Gamers 2 go for a very nice Dragon.
Yeah, it's very important for them to take this Dragon now because Jeebus has to back to get his Trinity Force. That's what the bottom lane turret gave him the gold for. So they had to get the Dragon and then recall rather than, you know, wait for the Dragon because they wouldn't have had the power spike to fight a full team fight against Lowland Lions. And Kyrie just died in the top lane. So good timing out of Gamers 2, knowing what they had to do. But now that they've got it back, Lowland Lions, again, they're all together as a unit, looking to push down turrets. Morsu has a fair amount of damage. Now, look at how fast that tower is dying at only 17 minutes into the game.
Yeah, counterplay on counterplay. Hiva does get hooked in. There's the Black Shield, but he just gets destroyed by Morsu.
I thought...
Oh, that damage from Urchin Strike.
I legitimately thought he had flashed to the side, and he was just off the screen. I legitimately was like, well, there was no animation on that flash. No, he just got destroyed. Straight up 100 to 0.
Yeah, the Sheen, the Seastone Trident from W, and then the Urchin Strike.
Crazy.
Literally 60% of
And now
Hiva's
bot
health.
lane. This is just so good out of Lowland Lions with how they're pushing. G2 just cannot settle themselves against this amount of pressure across the map. They let Morsu have a champion that he is very comfortable on. This is his third game here in Challenger Series on the Fizz, and it's been banned in most of the other ones. It's very strange that G2 had let Morsu get the champion like this.
Yeah, you really have to question whether that LeBlanc ban was worth it from Gamers 2 against CosQ, because the only ban that they let through was the Fizz, which they banned out last time they played them.
Also, LeBlanc isn't quite as tough to play against as she used to be. Still very strong. She did have slight changes, slight
on her
AP ratios on her mimicked abilities. So it's not taking her out of the top tier, it just makes her that little bit less deadly.
Yeah, for context, it's 0.005 of all her ratios. So it's a little bit, but it's definitely a little bit all the same. And an opponent of LeBlanc will take everything they can get from being detonated. But Hiva, now back from the graveyard, is looking to ward up. I haven't really been paying too much attention to the Vision game because it's all been about the kills and objectives so far, but now the teams are starting to ward up as they can.
And it's interesting that you bring up the Vision game, actually, in this
really
matchup. Because Lowland Lions have statistically the worst warding in the European Challenger Series. They only place a ward just over every 2 minutes on average. And then you look at G2, they are tied second for the worst warding as well. They're actually tied with Mouse, who, as most people will know, didn't have a win for 4 weeks. So both of these teams, if you look at one area that they could really look to improve on, warding would certainly be it. But when you're ahead right now, as Lowland Lions are right now, they're not all that focused on their warding game. They're focused on let's get towers, let's get objectives, and stay ahead. Because if we're stood right in front of their turrets taking them,
it doesn't matter if
we know exactly what they are.
Yeah,
exactly. But still, there's some interesting stats in this matchup.
Yeah, for sure. But now we've kind of hit more of a low period the teams are looking toward, but it's definitely like they can't seem to multitask in that sense. It's like, we'll push up your towers, but we won't also keep up our Vision game by doing so. Now, Hiva over the wall. He does have Flash if he can go for that Flash Soul Shackle engage. But Morsu is pretty much by himself right now with Hybrid and Kyrie coming up the rear.
And one thing that I think actually may lead to the warding is look at how empty jungle, mid, and AD carry are of wards for both teams right now. Mainly sweepers, a blue trinket, but no purchased wards, no consumables in their inventory. Now, that either tells you that their back timing has just been perfect from all three players and they didn't have any money at all, hit it on 0 and quit it. Or they just didn't pick any up. So that's one of the interesting things I want to keep a track of, at least mentally to myself, for the rest of this matchup.
But I have to get my next damage spike. I can't put it on wards.
That's 75 gold.
He'll put me behind, but wow, that's an interesting fan vote coming in here. 76% over to Gamers 2. And that would be the quote-unquote safe bet, because an on-form Gamers 2, yes, is very good, and have proven so during the previous weeks, but we've also seen how good Lowland Lions are at upsetting teams and capitalizing on mistakes like they are in this game, even though we've kind of hit more of a slow point, which I feel is going to ramp up in the next couple seconds.
Yeah, it certainly is going to ramp up as Lowland Lions push up. Although a missed hook. Ooh, Gideus flashes in.
He comes in. There's the ultimate coming across. Hiva does land his binding, but a great ultimate by CosQ lands onto 2. There's collateral damage. Morsu follows up as well. Smitty J only now uses ultimate onto the back line and will take down the counterpart of Morsu, but that's 4 of the players from Gamers 2 down for the count. Spear comes across, does not quite land onto onto Ica, but it's 1 versus 4 here, and a minion wave is flooding in.
Great ultimate out of CosQ to hold that fight, and Lowland Lions are going to get turrets from it as well, but you could see how much engaged Smitty had and Gilius. They locked down a good two or three people with each engage, but they just didn't have the damage to follow it after they'd used everything on Morsu. Morsu burned down early in that fight, leads them now to be in the position to take a Baron.
Ica does not have his ultimate, he has Flash and doesn't have Ignite. We'll see how this one goes. Everyone is very low from Lowland Lions. If he did have ultimate, this would be a quadra, but can he do anything more? There's the teleport coming in from Morsu, and that's enough to dissuade Ica from trying anything. Just tries to go for the steal, but Kyrie was able to take that down with his smite. Let's see the last fight once again. Yeah,
we will. Here's the engage out of Gilius. You see it locks down 2 people, but it's Hybrid and Kyrie that, they're not dealing the most amount of damage right now. Morsu exhausted almost instantly, and then gets shredded down. Ica burns everything to try and get him, and really not everything hit there either. And CosQ flashes, picks up his kill. Smitty J will be next to fall as well, but you can see just how much was burned trying to get Morsu down. And really, just that was the end of that team fight as soon as he fell.
Well, following the Baron, it is now time for Dragon, and this will be their second Dragon of the game for Lowland Lions coming in here. That will be easily going over them. There's nothing Gilius can do about it. And we haven't really seen a fight where Gamers 2 have initiated with a Hecarim and using what Hecarim is there for. It's only been Lowland Lions initiating onto Gamers 2, so I'd be interested in seeing a team fight where that was the scenario, but they need to not fall too far behind before that happens. Smitty J will get himself a top turret here, but is the rest of his team kind of out in the open because he doesn't have his teleport to get involved?
In theory, though, Gamers 2 should have been at that power spike a little while ago off that Trinity Force from both their top and AD carry players, and they really didn't utilize it very well. They didn't reach that point and say, okay, now we have to fight, because there was really nothing to fight over. Lowland Lions had already pushed that mid-outer, Dragon wasn't available, and then they take a team fight in which they use everything and get not a lot from it. And Lowland Lions will be happy with that because they've just hit another big power spike as well. You look at it, now we've got a needlessly large rod and 2 items onto the Cassiopeia. Static Shiv has been completed onto Graves for that extra attack speed as well. And a Blade of the Ruin King onto Fizz is a lot of items here that gives Lowland Lions a lot of power and gives that man, Morsu, all the potential to split push here.
Well, here's the 4-1, and Lowland Lions, they just need to take it slow in the bot lane, but 4v4, it is not a Gamers 2 who like their chances, so Lowland Lions take away the last inner turret here, and Morsu will be just harassing down Smitty J. That's a nice bit of return damage, but it's Morsu with the lifesteal.
One thing that Smitty J will have for Gamers 2 is teleport advantage in about 30 seconds to a minute. They'll have a good minute window where they'll have teleport available and Morsu won't, but the problem is, if you teleport out of that lane, Fizz will take your tower and potentially kill you while your teleport is channeling if his ultimate is up. You can also stop it as well. So it's all on Smitty J to be smart with his teleport if he does choose to use it in that small window.
He really has to make it count, that's for sure. Yeah. Because Morsu, regardless of the scenario, regardless of the outcome, will take away your base. Smitty J heading back into the top lane here. Of course, the perfect scenario would be for him to be in base so he gets the home guard as well, but can't really afford that luxury when Morsu's banging on the front door in the top lane. CosQ, you're going to be securing these crabs. And you were talking about the items of item builds before, but CosQ has opted towards the Rylai's Crystal Scepter over what we've been seeing typically, and has now gone for a needlessly large rod. So perhaps looking for a death cap. Of course, that was one of the changes in 5.6, where now death cap and her passive stack additively rather than multiplicatively. So he actually loses around 12% damage when you get to the late game.
That's difficult to say. Multiplicatively.
Yes.
I can't say that. I wouldn't have even tried if I hadn't tried that.
I went all in.
hey, you got it. It also changes a long time ago as well to the Rylai's Crystal Scepter that it meant it now applies on Twin Fang, I believe it was, or the Q it was, I believe. The long change ago.
Blast.
Yes, exactly. But changes that have allowed Cassiopeia to bring that. Interestingly, as you mentioned earlier, I wonder whether this is going to be a Luden's Echo or whether it will be the Rabadons, because that's the other option that we've seen a couple of players. It is the Rabadons completed, so not opting for that heavy wave clear build with the Luden's Echo that we saw a couple of times in the EUCS. So differences here between challenger players mentality, and of course with the patch changes on 5.6.
Yeah. Also with the Rylai's, like once you start twin fanging someone, they're never going to get away.
Yeah.
Because it's single target slow versus the AoE, which is even more in Rylai's, so they're pretty dead. Gilius as well, he'll be melted by that build. I'm taking a look at Visility for an interesting pickup. He's gone for his 2 damage items first, and has now gone straight into a Quicksilver Sash.
Yeah, that's a fairly early Quicksilver Sash when you look at things. That's the kind of timing you'd expect to see a Quicksilver Sash against Zed. No Zed in this game. This is purely to QSS off a lot of the crowd control that Gamers 2 have, because he knows he doesn't need a Last Whisper right this second. And it's just important for him to stay alive in these fights. So very smart itemization. Hook is landed on Hiva into the shield.
Well, see if it helps him this time around. He's going to wait for the stun to go down. Oh, he can just kill Morgana instead. Gilius now comes in with his big ultimate onto 2. Icarus now turns up in the fight. Hybrid should be falling. He finally goes down as Smitty takes him out with the Rampage and the E, but Kyra is there to take him out. There's the ultimate finally, but a triple kill for Visility. That was definitely a value pickup, and he didn't even need to use it. Morsu now onto Ica, lands the ultimate as well. There is the 5-for-1 ace from Lowland Lions, all in a blink of an eye. They just turn it on Gamers 2, and this looks like it might be the game.
It is going to be the game at this point. Still a good 20 seconds on most people. Lowland Lions, we said their comp had damage, but they just destroyed Gamers 2.
Wow, Lowland Lions in this first semi-finals in the playoffs go 1-0 in this best of 3 against Gamers 2. Gamers 2 are not looking good for the rest of the series, Stress.
Wow. I mean, Gamers 2 weren't expecting that damage. I wasn't expecting that damage. The only people that were expecting that team fight to go quite that heavily in their favor was Lowland Lions. Morsu teleports in, completely just blows everybody up. And you know, that on the side of Visility, he's had a fairly quiet round robin. That team fight shows up huge as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of quiet for like 5 minutes where it's just like, okay, let's just clear out the waves, let's stay in our base, and oh, we're dead, and oh, the game's done.
Yeah, the game was done. That's it.
Very impressive from Lowland Lions.
That all came from Hiva and Jeebus trying to catch out Lowland Lions in their own jungle. You have to think, did the warding play a factor into that? Did they know there were that many people there? Yeah. I mean, that happened so fast. I'm trying to kind of like keep it in my mind's eye on exactly how the game state was at that point. I know that Morsu was pushing in the bottom lane. Both top laners teleport in, and one does
it just all happened so fast. I think is pretty much the bottom line of that one, Stress. Yeah, very well played. But that's the first game, and that means that Lowland Lions is 1 game away from going into the playoff finals. And once you're into the finals, even if you lose, you still have a chance at promoting into the LCS by taking on one of the LCS teams. Or if you win, which will be a very tall task depending on who qualifies from tomorrow, you will just automatically promote into the LCS. You're in the LCS.
Yeah,
it's a short road.
It's as simple as that. It is a short road. It's you know, it's the shortest road there really has been outside of the expansion tournament. When you look at it, as soon as you're in Challenger, it is such a good spot to climb your way up to the LCS. But you know, it's not there yet.
Yeah, they can see it in the horizon.
Let's not run before we can walk, because Gamers 2 are a team that should be competing more than what we just saw. Especially now they've brought on Soldier, who I believe was the Gravity analyst, who left the team a couple of weeks back. They brought him in, or they brought Soldier in, and what can they do? What can they do now with an analyst? What can they do between games 1 and 2? You have to think it's ban for his.
Yeah. I think that might be a triple ban coming out. Yeah, because that was literally the only champion that they didn't ban out from the top lane, and they just tried to edge a LeBlanc ban in there, but even so, it didn't go down well. And if they were looking for instant results with their Soldier, apparently it hasn't quite turned up just yet.
Hasn't yet. There's still time.
There's still time.
It's not the end of the world.
But it's minutes versus days, which they had before.
Yeah, exactly. And you look at this game now. Gamers 2 are on the blue side in this next game, which means Morsu, should he choose to take it, has the counter pick for top lane regardless of what you ban. So if he's got something up his sleeve, which Morsu normally does, he's played Wukong and Fiora, so he's probably got something as a counter pick. That puts Gamers 2 in a very tough position. They have to rely on a solid strategy. They can't rely on outplaying now.
Yes, very, very true. I'm kind of interested in what they're going to do for their pick and ban strategy, but we'll find out when we head into that second game. So we have to take a quick 3:30 break, but when we get back, Lowland Lions and Gamers 2 take to the rift for round 2. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the semi-finals of the European Challenger Split. There's just a couple minutes left until we get into our second game. But what about that first game, though? The end of it, man, like, that just happened. And then they were dead.
Yeah, I wish I could say too much more about that, but I was just telling you in the break. Yeah. I was looking at bottom lane on my screen because I was looking for Morsu for when he was going to try and either push the turret or try and 1v1 Smitty J. And then I saw him start teleporting and I was like, ah, okay, I've got to look at what's happening. And by the time by the time I switched over, I just caught the catch at the beginning, and then everybody just got destroyed. Yep. It's crazy.
The end. But we're going to take a look at one of the team fights that happened in mid lane, which is kind of mid-game. I believe it was 22 minutes.
Yeah,
and Gilius comes in with the initiate.
Yeah, and Gamers 2 here have a lot of
ultimate by Coscu, lands onto 2, there's collateral damage. Morsu follows up as well. Smitty J only now uses ultimate onto the back line and will take down the counterpart of Morsu, but that's 4 of the players from Gamers 2 down for the...
You can see how good the engage was as well there, and just at that point, Coscu with the counter engage to it, locks down 2 or 3, puts a lot of damage down, and there's not really a lot you can do when Cassiopeia's already got 2 items from that CS lead that she got and a needlessly large rod as well. It just so much damage.
Yeah, for the people who were diving into the back line with the Hecarim and Swajani, it was just a death sentence when you go in there, because you would receive a death sentence by Fresh as you jump on top of them. It's like, well, once I get there, I know Vasilis is going to kill me anyway, even if I jump on him. So it's like, even with their plan, we're going to lose regardless of what we do. So yes, they made the right play. Yes, they backed off and kind of played it slow, protected their turrets, but yeah, they just didn't do enough.
They didn't do enough, but Lowland Lions did a lot in that game, and they did a lot of tower pushing. Just again and again, you saw the top lane where Morsu and Kairi just pushed top turret, kept going, pushed inner turret, kept going. Yep. Smitty J died, Gilius comes in, they trade the turret for 1 kill and a 1-for-1. Like, Lowland Lions just always pushing towers. Gamers 2 could never keep up across the map. That's a really big problem because, as you alluded to, there's not a lot of time to fix that issue now between game 1 and 2. Yeah,
they did fire back very slightly in the mid-game as they picked up 1 dragon in a response to a tower push in the top lane, but that was pretty much all that was stand out from Gamers 2. The rest was just Lowland Lions taking your objectives and just sitting in jungle and killing you.
Yeah, and we take a look down as well. Not only was it jungle and top that were doing a lot, bottom lane as well for Lowland Lions. We had that roam from Hybrid to begin the game, which basically pretty much won Coscu's lane for him right at the beginning. You can see on Thresh, 1, 1, and 5, not exactly the highest KDA, but when you take into account it was a 28-minute game overall, one of the fastest we've had on our broadcasted games here from the Challenger Series. Visility and Hybrid, just as a duo, went pretty huge that game.
Yeah, in the bot lane, you can even see his KDA 4-0 and 3 on Graves. He didn't die. I mean, that's pretty much a perfect game for an AD carry. And in the bot lane, we just saw them like outplaying people left and right, just as a duo, even without jungle pressure. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of the first times I've really looked at the bot lane from Lowland Lions and really just saw them as a cohesive unit, because it's typically they've been outshone by Kairi or Morsu or Coscu, like these big playmakers on the team. And if the bot lane starts showing up as well, like that's a tough team to go against.
That's worrying for other teams as well, because I know a lot of the other challenger players, or at least the players we have on our teams, don't think that the Lowland Lions bot lane is bad by any stretch, but certainly they're not the standouts on the team. And that game,
they're not the first thing you think of when you think Lowland Lions, but they're making a statement for themselves.
They did everything they needed to do in that game. That is one of the key factors. And yes, Visility picked up a load of kills in the last team fight, but before that they were doing solidly as well.
Yep, I just have to agree. But we are just seconds away from getting into our second champion select here, and I'm very interested in this one. So Gamers 2, now on the blue side, they do have their bans. Okay, wow, they ban out Kairi's Nidalee. I mean, I understand, because Kairi's Nidalee is great, but where did the other 2 bans go?
That might actually be a big factor and a big pin here to the whole Lowland Lions comp. This bans are going to come out pretty fast towards the top lane.
Lissandra from Lowland Lions, that will be aimed at the top lane, of course, from Smitty J, or even Ica. It is a flex ban. And then Jax as well, again, at Morsu. There's still an Irelia, there's still a Fizz that they have to deal with.
Yeah, there's still a lot that Morsu could play that they have to deal with. When you kind of look at that Nidalee ban, is the one that I want to pick up on. The 2 games, really, that they've had standout performances are with the Nidalee. Kairi against Origin carries through the early game. This game again, Kairi actually didn't have quite such a good game. He did die early on, if you keep that in mind, but it didn't matter. it wasn't enough. And, you know, here's something that we were expecting from this pick and ban phase.
It's left Aurelia open. Let's see how they deal with that situation. Malphite comes out again, as we had that quote earlier. Pick Malphite, that's the only thing you can do against me other than triple ban. Or you can maybe first pick Aurelia. They have that choice as they do have first pick.
That was going to be my suggestion. Or at least my thoughts, is they're likely to first pick. I don't think that Morsu's so afraid that they'd ban something here. And they don't.
Okay, yeah. They ban out the Rumble like they did first game. It's a Smitty J champion. Hey, would you look at that? There's the Aurelia. So, what does Morsu do now?
Okay, what does Morsu do now? Keep in mind, again, 5.6. Aurelia did get nerfed for the first time in nearly
2012.
3 years, really, that Aurelia has received any kind of nerf bat. But a little bit of damage shaved off. But that was about it.
It was just
still
Equilibrium Strike.
Pick. Yeah, exactly. Just Equilibrium Strike. A little bit tweaked off the top. But still very much so a top lane pick. You don't want Morsu to get it, so G2 had their hand forced on taking that. But is that a good thing, though? Is that potentially what G2 need, is to be forced to play something that can carry a game like an Aurelia?
Well, we know Smitty J plays pretty much everything now with 8 unique picks. So we'll see how he performs on the champion. But Lowland Lions having to rethink their game plan a little here. They go for the Corki, they go for the Fresh. So Hybrid gets his Fresh, and it'll take away the Corki from Jeebus. So we'll see how this one works out. And what they'll go for the rest of their picking phase. But so far, they've just picked the AD carry and support. So not thinking too hard about it. And Gamers Toots. Now, the ball is in their court to follow up with what they want.
It is. That Corki getting locked in. Interesting they didn't go for the Graves, and I say that just because of the success that the Graves Thresh combo has had. Not really to do with the Corki as such, more to do with, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But Corki is a very strong champion, still very high priority by a lot of the players. Interestingly, this is the 9th unique champion now for Smitty J. He has not played an Aurelia game here in the European Challenger Series at all, so...
Very cool. Yeah, that's 9 in the 11 games. 12 games. Yep, 9 in 12 games. Got it. Okay, so what Gamers 2 are going to be picking here? So the Annie comes out as the potential support pick, and the Lucian as well. So taking a page out of Forgiven's book, perhaps, and we'll be putting that into the bot lane. Even though Graves was available, they go for the Lucian.
Yep, they do indeed. And at this point with the Annie as well, that's a lot of damage down in that bottom lane, but we've seen Annie start to fall off a little bit. Really only H2K is a European team favoring that for Kasing, but that didn't really go well for H2K either last week. So not saying that the champion won't do well, more that it has started to tumble a little bit further and further down now that we've got longer scaling AD carries when you need somebody that can kind of sustain the mid lane a little bit more. We saw a lot of Nami this past week.
A lot of Nami. Last time we saw it in Challenger was Voidor. He likes picking that champion. Died a lot, but we'll see what they can do with this champion. It will be Hiva taking the helm on Annie, and Lowland Lions are really thinking about this. They have pretty much run down the clock, so they're thinking about the jungle here. We'll see what they go for. Only 1 second remaining. This is going to go down to the wire. Hello.
Okay.
So I spoke to CosQ, and I was like, so hey, you thinking about Wukong Fiora? And he was like, I'm going to make it work. And I was like, okay. So he's picked it.
Okay, interesting. So this is a really weird situation, and I'm going to say this because that Fiora is a Lowland Lions only flex pick. They've played it mid lane, they've played it top lane. I mean, they haven't had a lot of success with it top lane. I know they've had some success with it mid lane outside of the Challenger Series. I can't believe I just said Fiora's a flex pick.
It is. Only on Lowland Lions.
Only Lowland Lions. But
we'll see, we'll see. But what is for certain is they picked up the Gragas for jungle, so that much makes sense.
Gragas has been played top lane as well in certain regions.
Yeah,
as well.
it has.
But I'm just saying that's flex picks for Lowland Lions. I agree with you. It's likely to be.
Corki could also be a flex pick. We've seen him mid lane by Zhao Zhao.
Oh dear. Okay, well there's only one thing for certain, and that's Thresh. But LeBlanc was available in this game as well. Not banned out as it was banned out in the last game, so that has gone over to Ica, and that's a very fast lock-in that tells us exactly where everything is going.
Yes, so it was the Sejani as the final pickup from Gamers 2. Gragas was also picked up. There is kind of back and forth on Gragas, Sejani, which camp do you sit on? We can see which these teams sit in. But yes, the last pickup was Ari into LeBlanc, which is pretty much a skill matchup nowadays.
Yeah, again, tiny little bits shaved off the top of damage on LeBlanc, but still goes smallest way to help Ari. It's all on the charm. As soon as you go in with LeBlanc, if you get charmed, you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah.
But a lot of people think that LeBlanc should do very well, and it's because of the mobility, but if a LeBlanc misplays, that is when the difficulty comes in. However, the team compositions just in general, Lowland Lions really want to skirmish with this kind of composition. You look at Fiora and an Ari, that's two champions that want to just blow somebody up. Gragas as well, you ult them back towards the rest of your team. There's a whole lot of disruption coming from that composition.
There is. I'll be very interested to see how they play it out as well. But make sure to get on Twitter, and if you spot a big play from one of the teams, make sure to tweet at LLL Esports with the hashtag #ChallengerBigPlays. And last week's big play comes from the Mouse and Gamers 2 matchup, and it came from Mr. Guesswork, who said, "Never underestimate the Scout code. Captain Timo is always on duty. This is your Challenger Big Play."
Yeah, Cedrian shoved a wave into the bottom. With the Baroned up minions, G2 should be able to clear this. It depends on how much damage that Cedrian and Soz Purefect can do to clear the waves. G2 are a little bit hesitant on this. Soz Purefect...
They better be!
Oh!
Timo with the ambush damage comes out of stealth.
No way!
There's one, there's two. Double kill comes out. He flashes forwards, looks for the third. That's a triple for Timo. So that happened.
Dear.
That was a thing.
Yeah, that's the bad kind of nostalgia. But, you know, if you want some tips and tricks on Timo, if you really do, LOL Esports has an article up on their Challenger portal with some tips and tricks for playing Timo. And that was with the victorious Swift Scout from last week's series, as you just saw, versus Gamers 2, Soz Purefect. So if you really want to terrorize solo queue,
Evil incarnate.
It's okay, guys. I'm standing at our Nexus turrets because I'm going to win the game in 30 minutes when they come into all of my mushrooms.
That's the game plan. Oh my. But yeah, and LOL Esports isn't done yet, as we did publish our very own David Freak Turley's article. Welcome to the Challenger Series Spring Playoffs, giving you all you need to get yourself ready for playoffs.
Yeah, there's a lot in there, a lot worth checking out as well.
No doubt puns.
You know, we're already potentially halfway through our first semi-final.
We are, and we are going to get into this game to determine whether this is going to be our last game as we get onto the rift here. Gamers 2 now into the blue corner. Lowland Lions 1 game up in this one, Stress, and they will be sporting the red colors this time around. We'll see how they perform. And we'll be shooting out the Orb of Deception just to get the slight speed up, but they also have the beginning of the game home guard speed up, so
all random all top
jungle. All random all top. Everyone's going to be going into this one. Okay, Jeebus behind the pack, straggling behind. It is Smitty J who's splitting off, but everyone is going to meet up here.
You know what? I never really thought about this. You get a better view at the top side of the map than you do at the bottom. Bottom side's just caverns, and mid lane's just river. Top side, look, scenic views. That's exactly what you want. Oh, this is 5v5 at level 1. Are you kidding me? Where's the sun?
Still on to 5, and he goes in, but he may pay with his life. And there's Smitty J from the sidelines. He comes into the top. That's first blood going to the Fiora. Now Smitty J trying to get what he can onto that Morsu. Now Jeebus, is he under attack here? They still have a bunch of flashes to burn if they want to jump on him. There's the whole game lands onto Jeebus as well. He'll follow up. Also gets the barrel from Kyrie. Aika with a final distortion. I think that's the most explosive level 1 we've seen so far in the Challenger Series.
And that was huge for Lowland Lions as well. You know what? It was when you could see two things that kind of looking to collide, and I was like, they're not going to do it. They're not going to collide. And then Hiva actually lands a beautiful stun on about 4 people. The problem is there was a bit of distance between Hiva and the rest of his team, so Hiva just got picked off to begin this game. Now, what does that change? Oh my goodness, it gives Fiora a longsword and a Doran's for this lane. Goodbye any hopes of Smitty J sitting 1v1 in that lane for a while, if I'm being honest. So this is going to have to be a lane swap here out of Gamers 2. It has to be blind as well, but look at the ward already placed here for Lowland Lions. It's going to spot out this lane swap already. What is Fiora going to choose to do? Are they going to recall with their bottom lane, or just send Fiora up there as well? They'll lose a lot of experience if they do choose to recall. However, they will have got some from this Gromp. They are just going to go towards the bottom lane as well, so Morsu should hit level 2 himself. Yeah,
it's going to take him a little while to take on this Raptor, but he did go for the lunge first for the extra upfront damage. Now he'll go for the riposte most likely. There you go. And he'll actually help out Kyrie, so he might even be leeching some XP from here.
Yeah, Morsu can't sit in that 1v2. There is almost nothing that Fiora can do in a 1 versus 2 situation, so they're going to have to jungle, and if they do have to send Morsu up to that top lane, they're going to need hybrid with him. There's really just no way that Morsu can sit in that lane. On the other side of things, though, Visility will be very happy to sit 1 versus 1 in the bottom lane as well. Corki is fine to sit on his own. Question is, will Lowland Lions pull the trigger on that swap anytime soon, or will they just let Morsu keep jungling?
Yeah, they're currently just freezing it up in the bot lane here, as are they in the top lane. Looks like a recall coming out from Hiva, so it looks like he'll maybe heading into the bot lane to assist Smitty J in farming. Looks like there's the case as he's wandering down there. And in the jungle, it's still Morsu and Kyrie going at it. So, in the mid lane, it is currently Ica versus Kozq. It is Ari versus LeBlanc, so far completely equal. There's been nothing going to it just yet, but we may be seeing a 4-man dive onto the bot lane of Smitty J here.
We will. Oh, Lantern coming in as well. Morsu straight into the action.
There's the flash. Gets away from the death sentence.
That's all they need.
Yep, that's all they need indeed. And Hiva has gone into the bot lane, but he'll be zoning away Kyrie, who takes up that pink ward, wards it himself. This bot lane, if it doesn't go down, there's going to be a large chunk taken out of it by Lowland Lions.
And you know, this the play of bringing Hiva down here just signals that there's nothing Gamers 2 can do on the top side. They're forced to let Lucian just freeze on his own, but he's actually just even on CS, considering the amount of difference in position. Ooh, hook nearly lands again, but now it's a 4 versus 3 in this bottom lane. Lucian freezing up in the top on his own, so Lowland Lions really want to get this tower and then send somebody top to break Jeebus's farming habits.
Yep, and here with this last minion wave, they will be pushing it in. There's Morsu into the top lane. He should be able to clear this one away. Jeebus has to be a little careful with auto attack harassing Morsu under the turret because Riposte will just come out. There you go. Yeah.
There you go. Case in point. But Morsu also teleports in at the right. We were about to have a point in case moment again. Tower goes down in the bottom lane. I knew you were thinking. Good teleport timing out of Morsu, though. He actually received a huge wave of minions, but it's mid lane. Kozq may be in a little bit of trouble here. Not quite 6, no flash.
Jumps in with the distortion. Hiva with the auto attack, and the disintegrate takes the tower shot. They'll all be backing away. So, going from lane to lane, so far it's Lowland Lions who've been getting ahead of these roams. And Kyrie is also sitting in the wings with Gragas. And bot lane now, Visility up against level 2 Smitty J. He'll be Valkyrie forwards. There's the fast bomb, looking for the Gatling gun as well. It's enough to show his authority in the bottom lane. If you take a look at those top lanes as well, 20 CS to 4 currently for Morsu, plus the extra kill. He's sitting on double his total gold, or almost 2k there, to almost 1k from Smitty.
Lowland Lions are so far ahead this early into the game, and you know it's really all on Gamers 2 to get this Irelia into the game. But Hybrid now coming top. Jeebus is a little bit caught out here, doesn't quite have his flash available.
His only hope is to try and kill Morsu, but he jukes into the bush. The vision is gone. See you later. Kyrie also comes in from the side. Morsu also just jukes into the bush again, and he's just trying to play dance party as he gets away. Kyrie, I don't think he had to flash, but it looked awesome. Bottom lane, Gamers 2 looking to move on to Visility and do the same. There's the stun going down, and the stun as well for an Equilibrium strike. Gilius takes 2 tower shots. It's not quite enough to shower him in blood and kill him, but Hiva, last tower shot comes through and doesn't kill him either. Mid lane though, Kozq moving on to Ica. There's the last barrage. He's going to get changed underneath the turret. Last auto attack, blasted away, and it's not going to be him going down as the health bot keeps him alive from the ignite.
Wow, the timing of the turret shots there, well balanced out of Kozq. I was about to say it was a little bit dangerous. The chains were about to tether as well, and you confidently flash under turret, saying, hey, I know this is going to lock me down, but I know I can get out of this. And really smart plays out by Kozq in that middle lane. Meanwhile, top side of the map, Lowland Lions are just pushing themselves another turret here. And this is a repeat almost of game 1 here, where Lowland Lions are just pressuring all across the map. Oh, Kyrie over the wall.
From the side, he doesn't have his ult. He is only level 4, gonna bonk him on the head with his W. Jeebus returns fire with the double tap and light slinger, but Hybrid as well. And we're thinking of maybe going in, but Morsu's out of mana. He has flash, but he wants to go back to base. He's got a lot of gold to spend. He hasn't been back since the first minute, since he got that first blood, so he's going to have lots to spend. And look at that, straight into the Tiamat.
Straight into that Tiamat. Of course, of course. What else would you build on Fiora this in a competitive game? Of course you need a Tiamat, but we've seen the Fiora once before out of Morsu, and it did not really do as much as we were expecting from it. However, this is a great start. 1-0-1, a lot better than the last time we saw the Fiora out of him. So maybe this is the platform he needs to really build himself a lot of damage and do a lot in team fights here. But Smitty J has finally started farming himself up as well.
Interesting. So 66% versus 34% from Gamers2 versus Lowland Lions here in the fan vote. So it has increased a little bit by Lowland Lions, but people still have faith in them. But maybe Morsu's looking to shut that faith down as he jumps onto Jeebus. It's not going to be enough, though, as he does get exhausted by Heaver. Nice timing. And Heaver's only level 3. He is a low-level Annie coming out. But the rest of the score, or the rest of the scoreboard, is kind of low levels all over the board since everyone has been roaming around. Lowland Lions now onto this dragon. It will be Corky taking it with the last auto attack. So the first dragon once again goes to Lowland Lions, as we saw last game. And G2 should be able to respond in the form of their first turret of the game for the top turret.
Yeah, they will get this one. And G2 will take that for now. Being behind, they want that extra goal to get themselves back into it. Kyrie now pushes into the middle lane. Good movements out of the Lowland Lions here, but they do have Gilius there as well. No ultimate yet out of Gilius, and Ica just clears the wave out, but that's a lot of damage already done to that mid lane turret. Needlessly large rod rushed out by CosQ here, so not opting for any kind of mana items, just going for all of the damage right now, and then opting to rely on that blue buff and the 2 Doran's rings as well when he does indeed get that blue buff passed over. But it's a mid turret that is now going down for Lowland Lions. The blue buff for Ica was enough of a distraction, and the map vision here for G2 is just slowly being eroded away. That's 3 turrets down before 10 minutes.
Sounds like Corky's machine is malfunctioning slightly, but we'll see how that works out. And Hybrid will be heading back to base here, so I'm going to be picking up some more items. CosQ has gone for his Neasly large rod, and Ica heading towards something with a Phoenix Codex. Could go into a plethora of different items.
Yeah, could go into a lot, but look at Morsu, who was already pushing that top tower in. And this is before 10 minutes. This is earlier than we've ever seen from him, and the rest of G2, really that gank on its own just kind of showed you everything that G2 is struggling with right now. They're struggling to get just in the presence of Lowland Lions without being killed. It was a good exhaust timing on that Fiora gank up in that top lane, but Heaver doesn't have that now for a little while. And yep. Oh, in the Thresh
Hybrid
Express.
onto Heaver. There's a double stun onto Hybrid and Kyrie, though. That was not the Thresh Express that they really wanted. There's the Light Slinger. They'll maybe follow up after the wall. Jeebus comes in. He'll be knocked away by the Flay. CosQ from the mid lane. Morsu as well teleported into the fight. There's one. He uses an ultimate. There is all the damage from the Blade Waltz. And Kyrie as well trying to get away. It will be Ica over the wall. Jeebus should be left to die, though. A 4-4-2 in a situation that looked very good for Gamers2 with the double stun. Lowland Lions come ahead regardless.
Great fight early into this game for the Lowland Lions and Basility. That must be being fired off in celebration.
But fired off in something.
Morsu went from being, 1 kill, 1 assist. Now he's up to 3-1-3. Gonna be unstoppable the later we go, but let's take another look at how this all started. Hybrid goes a little bit too aggressive with Kyrie, knowing that Gilius is 6 in the bottom lane, so this looked great for Gamers2 right now. Both top laners managed to teleport in, but the difference here is how far away both mid laners are. CosQ, because that mid turret is already down, he can roam straight through River, and LeBlanc is forced all the way around the backside of this fight, and it allows Lowland Lions to just pick this fight up very early on. Ica still full health and almost full mana at the end of that fight because he could only get in there at the very last second.
Yeah, all he did was finish off Kyrie, who, to be honest, probably would have escaped had Jeebus not had help in that situation. Hybrid will be taking this ward here and just continuing their vision game. They are definitely ahead currently in terms of that, and now getting aggressive wards into the opposing jungle. But they are ahead in the mid lane. They're actually behind in farm in both the top and AD carry roles. And a little bit behind in the kills as well in that AD carry. Jeebus actually turning up, but Morsu is 3-1-3. He's finished his Hydra, and he is a major threat now that he gets to these fights, and he is not in any way, shape, or form being shut down by Gamers2. That first blood was so perfect for the Lions.
And this is the second game in a row that this has happened. That Morsu has got himself onto a comfortable champion and is just kind of you know, not phased by anything that Gamers 2 are throwing at him, and that's worrying for Gamers 2 that they haven't been able to stop Morsu. And Morsu's been a player that's been around for a very long time, specifically on Lowland Lions as well. I remember casting him for years on Lowland Lions, but his bottom lane, there's an engage.
Ult into the tower, gets Heaver taking another tower shot. Smitty J angrily, so there again lands a great ultimate, but is it going to be enough? So far it hasn't been. There's the fast part followed by the rocket. Mid lane, no, Cosq's going deep onto Iker. He takes down the clone, 25 gold in the bank, doesn't net Iker.
But what that did was it stops LeBlanc from stopping Morsu at all, or Cosq in the middle lane, because that was a 3 versus 4 in favor of Lowland Lions in the bottom lane itself. So G2 threw everything they could, and now they're going to go for round 2.
Smitty J did get the teleport in. Hybrid lands the flay onto 2. Facility just eats them alive. Now Smitty J turns around onto them, trying to get this kill onto Hybrid, but a great box will keep him in his tracks, and Facility, all he has to do is stand there and act like a turret and shoot him down. 3 kills in there for Lowland Lions, a 3-for-1 trade total, and a turret in top lane by Morsu, because Smitty J had to use his teleport to do that.
This is going to sound really weird, but really smart by Hybrid to just keep walking. As soon as Irelia was there, I was thinking, oh, she could get the reset quite easily off Thresh, but Hybrid plays it right. That's exactly what you'd expect from a support player in that kind of situation. So great plays out of Lowland Lions just to hold on to that down in the bottom lane, and Smitty J got what he could from that. He's started to try and get himself back into this game, but he hasn't finished his Trinity Force quite yet. 2-2-0, still way down on CS from that early game. He was level 2, remember, when Facility was level 4.
Yeah, and that has meant that everyone went back to base, and everyone was just laughing back to the bank there. So in the mid lane, it is now the Morellonomicon into the Death Cap, looking to be completed by Cosq. In the jungle, looking for something with his Catalyst coming out. Hybrid lands a hook onto Heaver, still level 5 in this game. Morsu is level 10,
wow.
Double his level. Goodbye, Annie. Annie, are you okay? The answer is no. Taking a look at this dragon, Lowland Lions are going to be taking this one with no difficulties and bringing that to their second dragon of the game. Going back onto the item just for a second, I want to talk about a BF sword now being picked up by Morsu, so he's getting kind of scary.
Oh.
Hybrid, though, in the jungle, looks to be taken out by Iker, but does he have anything left in the
available.
reservoir? Oh, Facility from the top side. Cosq comes in as well. Down goes the clone once again. Jeebus will be receiving the Foxfires and goes down for the count. That is another kill on their side. Now they're looking towards the middle turret. Where did this Lowland Lions come from? This is insane.
Massive gold lead, 7,000 at least here for Lowland Lions. And Morsu split pushing down in the bottom lane. When was the last time you ever saw a top laner build a BF sword? Ever. Like, that doesn't happen.
Not in recent history for sure, Stress.
I mean, Morsu is just completely pushing in Gamers 2 all across the map, now up to 6 turrets at 15 minutes. This is an absolute decimation of Gamers 2.
This is shaping up to be a 2-0, and that is pretty much the reverse of everyone's opinion going into this game. Lowland Lions, yes, they're being great at picking up those one odd wins during the round robin, but that's kind of as far as it's gone. They've never 2-0'd a team who have looked to be above them. They've always picked up one game and lost the other, but this time they're just running it home, and Gamers 2 look lost.
I wonder who Lowland Lions have been scrimming this week. Like, as a serious point, because this is a very well-composed Lowland Lions. This is more composed than they were showing against Origin. And the first game may be the exception there. The second game still looked a little bit rough from Lowland Lions, but this is much better. And we know Gamers 2 do play against the top challenger teams, and, you know, the lower half of the LCS teams as well, but they have not showed up yet in this series at all.
They have not, and if they are, they have not long to do so. They're mid-game through a game that is poised for Lowland Lions to take. And if they lose this, they're done. They're right into the third-place game. They still have a chance at making the promotion tournament by defeating whoever loses tomorrow versus Origin and Reason Gaming. That's not the situation you want to be in as Gamers 2. I spoke to pretty much every single challenger team, and unanimously, they were all like, yeah, it's going to be Origin, Gamers 2 in the finals. They said that at the start of the round robin, they said it at the end of the round robin, and right now that does not look to be the case.
That's just been the story of Lowland Lions, though, isn't it? Everybody has not expected anything from them. And that might sound really harsh, but the fact of the matter is, every article, every interview, everything that was posted before this Challenger Series round robin started put them as 5th or 6th.
Yeah.
And they have never really looked like a 5th or 6th team. They've had their rough games, but they've never really looked that low.
Yeah, I have to completely agree. Gamers 2, it's not like they're playing awfully, it's just that Lowland Lions are simply playing better. And they are doing that in everything in this game. And bot lane as well, they're now pushing in. Top lane is now significantly ahead in favor of Morsu. Top lane though, Heaver does get the stun onto CosQ. Smitty looking for his stun, his follow-up with Q, doesn't quite get it.
He didn't quite get it, but I want to talk about the mid lane matchup, and we talked earlier in the season about how CosQ is very confident in that mid lane. He's pretty much destroyed Ica in both games here. He's been ahead in CS, been up in kills, up in assists. He's just been around the map more, even on the Cassiopeia in the last game, than Ica has been able to deal with. And that is really problematic here for Gamers 2, because CosQ, as good as a player he is, he wasn't the likes of a Senkux when we came in where everyone was like, this guy's going to carry every single game. Or an Xpeke who has this wealth of experience. But Lowland Lions as a unit have just completely stepped up. And I mean, I wish there was a lot more to analyze from this game from a team comp's perspective, but Gamers 2 just have played into the hands of Lowland Lions. They've given them carry champions that they want. Lowland Lions have made picks, and they've got objectives from it.
And all of that has led up to the steps of the base from Gamers 2. Let's see if they can crack this ring of towers. Kyrie is leading the charge here, keeping people away. Arctic Assault used as a disengage. Heaver with a great stun onto 4 players. This could be the turning point. Hybrid will be dropping low, but the Kyrie has already gone down. CosQ comes in with the Spirit Rush. There's 1, there's 2 kills for Lowland Lions currently. Morsu is stuck in the enemy base. He takes 1 more down with him. Smitty comes in. He goes for 1. He jumps into the base, but he's locked underneath the turret. He'll be flashing away. Rocket, as he escapes the fight, does not land onto Ica, but that is a 3 for 2, and Lowland Lions are still looking to keep up the assault.
And they can't be that over-aggressive.
Ica jumps in! He gets free with his distortion! Unreal!
You cannot be that over-aggressive. Lowland Lions were in the situation to take an inhibitor tower. They stacked on top of each other. I think at that moment, everybody saw the play. Everybody saw the play, including Lowland Lions, and they were just too slow to react at the same time.
That one's a freebie. That is a hashtag challenger big play right there.
Just
wow,
give that over to Ica. That is, for everything we said about that mid lane matchup, this LeBlanc is now becoming terrifying after that.
Yeah, an extra 3 kills in this mid-game stage. I say we're mid-game, it's 20 minutes into the game, but that's what it's become. Gold has just accelerated this game so quickly. And Ica is now a serious threat for Lowland Lions to deal with. And they didn't even take down the middle inhibitor turret, so they didn't even get what they came for. This could be the breathing room that Gamers 2 need. However, I say that, you take a look at the goal totals, still almost 10k down in this game, 9k at this current moment. It's a long hill to try and get up, but they have made the first step.
The issue that Lowland Lions have, though, with this comp and now a serious damage threat like this LeBlanc, is that they only have 1 tank. They're running a Fiora in the top lane, which is going to be great for split pushing in situations like this, where Lowland Lions are taking something across the map. Ica doesn't quite hit the tether, so can't really follow up with the damage, but without a second tank, they now have to ward incredibly carefully. If Fiora, Corki, or Ari get blown up by a flank out of a LeBlanc here, this is still anybody's game. There is still a lot that Ica can do if the warding is not good out of Lowland Lions. Something that's going to be preying at the back of Gamers 2's mind, however, is the fact that Lowland Lions are now 3 dragons up against them. 1 more and they'll be up against the clock because 5th dragon is on the horizon, and with the extra damage that they get from that, it can be very difficult to deal with. Blue buff was taken away by CosQ as Ica tries to steal it with his distortion. Yeah, but I emphasize to Ica the flank. Don't try and go in through the front like that. That's I know you're only trying to steal the blue buff, but you're still on dangerous territory here. You've still got to play it out very carefully. But the game is certainly still afoot. It's still the game is afoot. A massive, massive goal difference.
Gilius walks into the bus, right into the clutches of the Lowland Lions. However, Hybrid does get blown up. CosQ from the side, however, he takes down the Swazjani. And do they have any more in the bank? Because Smitty does get charmed up. Visility jumps aggressively in with the Valkyrie for his double kill. Now chasing down Heaver and Ica. Morsu is looking for the Blade Waltz. Can he get in range? Not quite yet, but they still have to worry about it. The ticket, the turret is already low, and I was about to say Lowland Lions
could be booking their tickets here to at least the promotion tournament here after the grand finals. That winning this game will put them in touching reach of an LCS spot.
Absolutely incredible performance, honestly, by both teams, because Gamers 2, yes, they've looked weak through this game, but they've had moments of brilliance. Iker, you were talking about in Game 1 how he wasn't impressed by his own performances and was looking to turn up when he came into this best of 3. I think that one play by itself in the mid lane has pretty much done what he asked for, no matter how this series ends up.
Here comes the 4-1 out of Lowland Lions again. What do Gamers 2 do to deter this? Again, we talked, they have to, Lowland Lions have to ward carefully and ward properly. They also have to watch the engage out of Gilius. One of the big things that kind of deterred Lowland Lions from actually taking an even better team. Ooh, Cosq.
Iker with the 1-2 with the distortion. Cosq very low. Jeebus tries to go in for the double tap, doesn't land it. Both mid laners are left very low. There's the ultimate, the slam, the bam. Thank you, ma'am. Jeebus will be going down. Hybrid comes in with the last auto. And Facility now onto Heaver as well. That's a dead Annie. 2-4-0. They get the pick onto the bot lane. And Lowland Lions, what else do they want from this? Well, Baron's available. Why not go for that?
Yeah, this could very well be Baron right now. Gilius is still available. He's on the top side. Morsu actually is going to use teleport just to secure this. And that makes the 4-1 potential to end this game even scarier. You just wait for the mid lane to push in. 4-on-1. Side lane, 1 in the other, and nobody can really stop them. And Lowland Lions are in such a good position right now. You look at what that BF sword went into. Mercurial Scimitar has been completed for a while, and a Brutalizer as well. No level 2 boots on Morsu because quite frankly, he doesn't need it. There's nothing to run away from if you demolish what's in front of you first.
Yep, plus you're invulnerable for a couple of seconds during Blade Waltz, so Morsu is as safe as a Fiora can get in these team fights. And for the mid laner, Cosq, he's completed 3 items currently, 3 items to the 2 items of his counterpart. So even though Iker netted all those kills, Cosq is still ahead of him because of how the farm's gone. He'll be in a battle to the death with blue buff. Got him. And now he'll speed himself up with Orb of Deception. But it's going to take a monumental comeback from Gamers 2 from here on out. They are 7 turrets to 1 currently. 3 dragons, not even a single dragon on the board. 12k behind in terms of farm. We'll see what they can do.
One thing that may help Gamers 2, if Lowland Lions don't bring this game to a close fairly quickly, is the levels and how early on in this game the 4-1 is going to start. Provided the Gamers 2 can clear the waves out, they will naturally just kind of accrue experience and gold that little bit faster to catch themselves back into the game. So if Gamers 2 can, you know, utilize the culling, utilize their wave clear with the static shiv on Lucian as well, they flash engage.
Yes, good engage onto 2 players. That's the Cosq going down, but Heaver will trade his life for it. How much can they do in this fight though? Because Gilius is also dropping low along with his top lane. That's Smitty J and Jeebus both go down. Morsu is in the back lines up against Gilius. This very well could be Gamers. Facility is tightening the screws. Iker trying to get in and assassinate the AD carry. Will get him for the shutdown, but that's a 1-for-1 and overall a 4-for-2. And Lowland Lions are looking to close this out.
This time the heal was up and Facility says, I know you want to go for it. I'm going to bait you in. And Iker takes it hook, line, and sinker, and now Morsu and crew are on their way to the Nexus turrets. This is a lot of damage and a wave of super minions. There's not a lot the Gamers 2 can do.
Gilius comes in with the engage, and Hybrid is dropping low, but Morsu is the main threat here. He comes in with the lunge, he goes 1 for 2, and now Heaver is dragged back into the fray. Smitty J comes in, he takes out the support. Jeebus is now back into the fight as well. Morsu is dropping low, he goes onto the tower. Can he kill both of his targets? He goes 1-on-2, not quite. There's the double kill. He jumps back into Jeebus. Oh, we're going to see Fnatic Unicorns of Love here, Stress.
Not quite. They're still not quite onto the Nexus as such, but Kyrie is going to back away. There's so many minions here, and Iker is taking so much damage from them. He will fall. Okay.
They hold on.
They hold for now. That is 2 inhibs going down, but man, that was a good push out of Lowland Lions, but a great hold out of Gamers 2 on the Nexus. Iker knew what he had to do, and he quickly jumps up to 8-2-0, nearly rivaling the stat line here out of Morsu. But man, Gamers 2, they've still got a good 20-25 minutes left in this game if they want to hold on.
Yeah, that was intense. Facility now onto this dragon. This will be their 4th of the game. This is not a dragon that Gamers 2 are going to try and contest. They have put their line of pink wards within their own jungle to try and secure some resemblance of of vision control in this game. But yeah, I mean, they have pretty good scaling, of course. They do have the Irelia coming out here. If she can get to 60 or 80 minutes, she could become a major threat for them.
And let's talk about that. We looked at the top laners as our featured matchup. SmittyJ did not get into this series. And it's the unorthodox or you know, stronger carry style picks out of Morsu that has been a big part of why SmittyJ has never got into this. Constantly G2 had to play around Morsu, and SmittyJ just got the short end of the stick. He had to be in a 1v2. He had to, you know, just get bursted down by Kyrie and Morsu again and again under turret. There was nothing that SmittyJ could do.
There was not indeed. This will be last chance saloon for Gamers 2. They are off to the side. Gillius goes for the exchange, lands it onto 2, make that 3. CosQ jukes backwards, SmittyJ goes down. This is not looking good for Gamers 2 right now as SmittyJ goes onto the front lines. Goodbye, Jeebus. Morsu shuts him down. Gillius as well, the last rocket from the sidelines from downtown. There's now 1 versus 5, and Lowland Lions undoubtedly will take this game. The Nexus is exposed. They even make it 5-0. The clean sweep, 2-0 in this game stress. Lowland Lions take themselves to the grand finals.
What a game, what a series out of Lowland Lions. When you look at just the overall game plan they had, it was put it on Morsu as a distraction to let everybody else get fed. Morsu will get fed anyway in the process, and we'll just out-push you. We'll get as many turrets as you can. You look at both games, they both ended in about 28 minutes as a total. And in both of them, there were multiple turrets down pre-10 minutes. At that point, 6 turrets were down before about that 10-15 minute mark in favor of Lowland Lions. Gamers 2 just never, ever caught on to what was happening.
Yeah, they just never got into the game. SmittyJ in the top lane did not get into the game, and neither did his team. 2-0. Lowland Lions at the kind of one of the final hurdles, just really turn it on. Like, yes, they've had the moments of brilliances, the glimpses of that during the round robin. I just didn't think they were going to go this huge in the final game here.
And you know what? You eye up who they have to play against, potentially. Yes, they've got the grand finals, and let's not look past that, because as much of a test as Origin and Reason Gaming are going to be tomorrow, we'll see who gets that, and that's going to be a great finals. But at a minimum, Lowland Lions will be in the promotion tournament. Yeah. And you look at the two teams there, MYM and Giants. That was more strategy than we've seen out of MYM and Giants in the last few weeks. Yep. Giants may be the exception from this week, but that was only kind of like an overarching plan. Lowland Lions smothered and dissected Gamers 2.
If they turn up like that in the promotion tournament, they will beat MYM or Giants. If they play like that. Straight up.
Yeah.
And
Rocket and Giants. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
MYM will be joining us next.
Yeah, they're auto relegated down into Challenger, so yeah, they won't be facing them. They would definitely beat them, but they're not gonna be playing against them. Yes, Rocket and Giants.
Yeah, exactly. So I need to kind of, you know, just take that minute to look at Lowland Lions and what we expect, what I expected. I know when we were watching the qualifiers, we were talking obviously off stream, and you were saying they're looking really good, and I was thinking, yeah, they've got a lot of potential, but I guess I wasn't a believer at the beginning, certainly over the round robin, and now with this series against Gamers 2, just looking dominant. They've gone from strength to strength, and they've evolved constantly throughout the group stage and now into the playoffs, and they're in a great spot.
Yeah, we had that difference of opinion, and
yeah.
I'm glad that that I thought that at the very start. I saw the small amount of potential, but never did I think it would go this far.
Yeah. And I think the point there is that we're glad that it's not just, oh, that's the 6 teams at the beginning. That's what it's going to be, and that's how it's played out. It's been a lot more diverse than we ever anticipated. But let's reel it back to Gamers 2, because it's not done for them. They still will be at a minimum in the summer split of Challenger. Their other potential now is to play in the 3rd place game next week. And they'll face the loser of Origin versus Reason Gaming. So the winner of that 3rd place game will also go to the promotion tournament. So there's still a lot for Gamers 2, but they've only got a week to fix it.
Well, let's bring it back to Lowland Lions, because after their win, we're joined by Kyrie to talk about Lowland Lions' victory and how they got here. Hey, Kyrie, how's it going?
Well, I'm fine.
So I guess the first question is that game, that series 2-0. Were you expecting to do so well against Gamers 2?
Oh, well, we actually didn't expect that, but the banning phase went quite well. Like, we wanted them to either pick Jax or ban Jax. Like, we made really obvious bans like Rumble, Malphite, like everything that counts Jax, and we had first pick as well. So, and they actually did ban Jax, and so we could first pick neatly without any threat, you know, like.
What were your thoughts then in Game 2, where Nidalee would ultimately be banned? So was Gragas always kind of the estimated second pick?
Well, the things with Gragas, you have like a really good engage with the speed item, and hard fights, like hard engage, Nidalee will like never win because Gragas is like way better, and Gragas is well really good against the Blanc because when she jumps in, you can just cancel the jump and as well, ult her back, and then Fiora can just ult her and she's dead. So.
Very cool. And I do want to ask one more question about the game, because when Iker came in with his distortion and killed 3 of you all at the same time, what was going through your head? Because you were pushing up and almost looking to close out the game, but that stopped you for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, well, that was kind of unexpected, I guess. Positioning wasn't that great, but well, we were still really far ahead at like 50 minutes, like every outer third, only the inner way left, and yep.
So now we look forward to tomorrow's semi-final between Reason Gaming and Origin. Do you have any thoughts on what your predictions are for tomorrow's series?
Well, I do think Reason Gaming has a chance, but the chance isn't that great though. I think Origin has the upper hand, and they will take like 2-1 or 2-0, I believe.
Yeah, so then...
like, anything can happen.
Yeah, so I guess then moving on to next week, because you guys 2-0 Gamers 2, and then if Origin do win, like you're saying, how do you think it's going to go up against Origin if you do go up against them in the finals?
Well, it'll be a hard match, but it's certainly doable, you know, like, everyone makes mistakes and anything can happen. Once you get ahead, you won't fall back down that easily, like, we know how to punish people, so...
Certainly, as you demonstrated in that last game.
Pick and ban is good, we will be alright, I believe.
Well, fantastic. Once again, congratulations on your win, Kyrie, and we will see you in the finals, in fact. So, thank you very much for your time.
Yes, thank you too.
Well, that was crazy as a series.
Yeah, I'm still reeling. I was not expecting a 2-game series either way. I thought we were going to go to 3. I didn't think either team was really going to dominate the other, because we've seen both of them pick up wins, but Lowland Lions were on a different level today from anything we've seen.
Yeah, as Kyrie said, they know how to finish people, and that's exactly what they did. So, with that win, we've determined our first team to make the grand finals. Let's take a look at the bracket and see where the teams stand. So, that means Lowland Lions advance to the finals, and then Gamers 2 will play in a third-place match against the loser from tomorrow.
I'm looking forward to that series now. If it's anything like the performance we just saw, the games may not have been very close, but, you know, I feel like Reason Gaming, they've had a little bit of time to prepare. Hopefully they can match up against Origin.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see who comes out behind there in that series. But make sure to tune in again tomorrow, because our second semi-final between Origin and Reason Gaming will be going ahead in another best of 3. We'll be kicking off the action at 6 PM CEST.
And if you missed any of today's games, because they were fast, or if you want to catch up with the games from any of the round-robin group stage, head over to LLEsports.com.
And while you're there, make sure to book your ticket to the teams, or to see the teams live in the finals next week on April 8th. Time's running out, so make sure to book soon.
Yeah, Lowland Lions have booked their ticket already. They're in. They're done. We're going to have to see who wants that second spot on the stage. But tune in later, because Freak and Cyrene, they're going to be bringing you their first semi-final of the 2015 North American Challenger Series playoffs. And that kicks off at 12 PM CEST or 3 PM Pacific.
Well, it was kind of a short one, but that's it for today. From myself, Stress, and the entire broadcast crew, thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you at the same time tomorrow.
Ooh, Gideus flashes in.
He comes in. There's the ultimate coming across. Hiva does land his binding, but a great ultimate by Coscu lands onto 2. There's collateral damage. Morsu follows up as well. Spinny JNE now uses the ultimate onto the back line and will take down the counterpart of Morsu. But that's 4 of the players from Gamers 2 down for the count.
5v5 at level 1. Are you kidding me? Where's the stun?
And the stun onto 5. And he goes in, but he may pay with his life. And there's Smitty J from the sidelines. He comes into the top. That's first blood going to the Fiora. The Lions are still looking to keep up the assault.
And they can't be that over-aggressive.
Iker!
jumps in! He gets free with his distortion! Unreal! It is now 1 versus 5, and Lowland Lions undoubtedly will take this game. The Nexus is exposed. They even make it 5-0. The clean sweep, 2-0 in this game stretch.
Wow.